Happy Cinco de Mayo. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to Spirit Sessions, a View of the Light, where we take the neatest concepts and break them down so that we can use them every single day. We've got Rhonda. We've got Bex. These are the most amazing co-hosts I could have ever asked for. And we have an amazing guest today who I saw for the first time on Christy Warnick's show through the Akashic Academy. They did like a part 1 on the Akashic Academy, and they did part 2 on Anne's page. And Anne had this amazing meditation. Now, you guys know I love meditations, and I love what I learn and glean from them. And she had an amazing meditation that she's going to do later. So, Rhonda, this is your guest. Tell us all about her.
Okay, before I start, would you guys like to share this out and like it up and send it out to all your friends? Because Anne said she's got a great meditation for us, and we love share it out to your groups and share it out to everyone. And the winner this week will win with
Teresa.
I think it's Teresa today. Yay. So share it out and you'll win a mini reading with Teresa. So I'm going to share mine out for a second. Anne is very happy to have Anne. I just thought, oh, we should have Anne Jirsch. And I asked her and she came on. How does that work? It was just wonderful. I thought, that's great. I'm so excited. I thought, oh, she said yes. Anne is in London. Are you in London right now too? Yeah, you're in
just
London
just outside London.
Ooh. And she is a born professional psychic with a worldwide following. She is leading the world-leading pioneer of future life progression. It's not that she goes back into our past. She's going forward, and she'll explain why. She runs a training school, so you too can learn this amazing gift that she has. And she has over 250 practitioners in 8 countries, so that's really cool. She's internationally best-selling author of 4 books, Instant Intuition, The Future is Yours, Cosmic Energy, and Create Your Perfect Future. Anne, tell us how you started. How did you, were you born with all these gifts, or did you, well, I guess we're all kind of born, but did you just have that natural ability, or did you work at it? How did you come here?
I didn't. My grandmother used to read the tea leaves. Do you have that in Canada? She read the tea leaves.
Yeah.
And she was amazing, a real character, real London character, you know, from East End of London. So if you know about Cockneys, she was a proper East End Londoner, really vibrant, really charismatic. Of course, as a kid, I'd watch her and she'd do the readings, and I knew it worked. So I knew that this worked. So as a kid, I'd sit there and try and have a premonition. I'd sit there as a kid and try and be psychic, and something would pop into my head and I'd say it. And I never got it right once, not even by fluke. You'd think I'd get your one right back, guess what? But I never did. I was absolutely rubbish at it. So, but in my teens, I kind of knew I wanted to go that way. I was really fascinated. But, you know, this is a long time ago. You know, this was a long time ago. You couldn't Google things. You didn't have the spiritual centre up the road. It was really hard to get information. I mean, there was one shop in London. I wrote about it in my first book. We'd get a train into London. We'd save up a bit of money. And it was the only place you could buy esoteric books or information. You know, we didn't have that sort of thing in 35, 40 years ago. You didn't have that in your local bookstore. You didn't have magazines, you didn't have the internet. It was really hard to find people and find what was happening. So I'd go into town to Watkins, and they're now my new publisher. So it's funny how you come the full circle. And then I only told them later how I'd put that in the first book. So it's really funny. But I did what everybody did back then. I went to India because it was the logical thing to do because the Beatles went there. So I thought, well, the Beatles went.
Yeah.
They went there to find spiritual enlightenment. It must be the right thing to do. So that's what everybody did. So I went off to India for a year. And again, I was quite rubbish at it. You know, I wasn't very good at the spiritual thing. I missed so many real spiritual things. But what did happen was, it was an odd thing. I went to an ashram and did all the usual things. I'm not very good at meditation, I fidget. I'm one of them people that I'm fidgeting. Everyone's zoned out, and I keep peeping and opening my eye. You know, I'm quite bad at it. But the weirdest thing, I'm talking to all these gurus and minded people on their spiritual path, but the one that really blew me away was a beggar. He was sitting on a mat in Calcutta, and I'd go for breakfast. I loved Calcutta. And I'd walk past him, he'd sit on and I'd ask him these questions, which, you know, looking back, they're really dumb questions, but, you know, I'm a teenager and I'm bugging him. And he literally would sit on the mat and just, people would stop and talk to him. So I'd take him something for breakfast as a way of saying thank you. You'd see all these people stop and talk to him. And I used to say to him, well, don't you want more out of life? You know, you obviously know. And he would go, what do you define as more? And I'd say, well, a house or something. And he'd go, well, if I was in a house, then I wouldn't see all these amazing people every day. And he kind of scrambled my head. But he'd teach me a little bit about energy, and he started talking about reincarnation. And it was just mind-blowing. And when I came back, as I was traveling back, I don't know what it was, but something about talking to him, I started to know things. On the way back, I started to know things. And one of the people we'd travelled with months before was a French guy. And we got back near to Turkey, and I said, that French guy's not far away. And they said, Anne, he went back months ago. He had to be back because he was starting a job. There's no way. And the next day we bumped into him. So logically, I thought maybe I'd seen him out the corner of my eye and not realised. But the point I said, Banal's around here, I can feel him. He was travelling through the desert on his way to the area we were. So, you know, it was bizarre. So by the time I came back, a weird thing happened. A friend said, I'm going to the spiritual development group. You have to come because I can't go on my own because they might be odd. Because that's how people thought back then. They thought it was all... There was a healing group nearby, and people went, oh, don't go there. They're all a bit mad. They stand there doing this and, you know. That's how people thought of it back then. They're all a bit mad. They send all the... They think they're sending energy and healing people. Nobody bats an eyelid these days. But so she dragged me off to this group, and it was every Monday for 5 Mondays. And we just tried out different things. You know, might do a bit of psychometry, and, you know, we just tried all these different things. And I really got on with the cards. I just got on with the cards. I'm still today have cards everywhere. I love my cards. I just got on with cards. And a little bit later, my best friend bought me a pack for my birthday. Now, I had tried to read cards several times before, but, you know, the little book you get, oh, it's so confusing. All these different meanings. If it's next to this, it don't mean this. And it was just, you needed a brain like a computer. So, what I do when I teach, you know, I get everybody to take the little booklet out and throw it in the bin. That's the first thing we do. Okay, right, throw it in. But now I was just not looking at the card and it thinking it means this. I was going, what does it mean at this moment in time? What comes to me? And that was it. I was off. So I started reading cards. I think it's good to have a tool, you know, in the early days, something palmistry or something. So that was it. I was off, and I had by that time I had a really well-paid job, and I got to Tuesday morning and thought, I can't go in there. I can't. The boss had actually taken me to one side and said, in 6 months' time, this is how much money you'll be on. And my heart sank. I just thought, I can't go in there. I just felt that I just called them up and said, I'm never coming back. And they said, you're walking away from a lot. You're really silly. And I went, so I had to start from scratch to build a client base. So the first couple of years, I wasn't earning much because it takes time to build the client base. But that was it. I was off. And the cards talked to me. They opened up that side. And then I did that for many years. And then I was so, because of what Vikram, the beggar, had talked about reincarnation and past lives, kept coming into my mind. But I couldn't find a regressionist. You know, as I say, you can't Google anyone. I'd look, and I couldn't find it. And then somebody would tell me about somebody that does past life, and I'd ring the number, and it'd be a dead number, and I could never get hold of anyone. Went on for years. Then the amazing Denise Lind, you've probably heard of her.
Oh, yeah. Love Denise.
I still think she's the best. I bow to her. She's the best, I think, in the world. She's incredible. And she came to London, and she did 800 people in the room. 800 people. And everybody in that room had a mind-blowing experience. She didn't think they had, because we're English. So at the end, she said, everybody and just went, oh, thank you, that was nice. She's American. The Americans jumping up and down and woo, woo. And we just all give a little clap. So she went and she said, I really thought it hadn't gone very well because they were so reserved at the end. She said, then I got all these letters started to arrive. So it was a profound experience, changed me forever. And I thought, I have to work with this. But again, there was no training. I couldn't find a regressionist. She wasn't teaching it as such. So I went and trained in clinical hypnotherapy. I just thought, I'm not big on certificates because I think put your energy into people. I know people that can paper the walls with certificates and they're not good with people. I don't take a lot, but I thought I'd better go and train. So I trained in hypnotherapy, started to write my own scripts, and that was it. That just took off. I wasn't looking for anything else. I loved it. My clients are really good friends. I just loved it. And then future life progression came along. Do you want to hear the story?
Yes. Yeah, I'd love to hear what that's.
Well, what happened was a couple of young soldiers popped into the office and they said, we hear about this regression. We've got a mate that's been to you a few times. And I knew the friend at Craig. I knew him really well. Lovely young guy. And he'd pop in and borrow a book. It's one that, what you do when you're a young soldier, you're not surrounded by people that you can just talk to about, especially back then. This was, 2001. It was, quite a while ago. There wasn't. So he'd pop in and go, well, what do you think of this? He'd ask questions or borrow a book or a tape. And we had tapes back then. And we'd have little conversations. And one day a book I'd borrowed him, he left it on the side and the other soldiers saw it. And he was mortified because he thought they'd laugh at him. And they were just, wow, what is this? Oh, it's about past life. And they were really interested. So he said, I'll go and see Anne. So they popped in to see me. And it started this sequence of events that they would come to see me every week, both have a regression session, not have a chance to collaborate, one come in after the other, and they would see the past life where they were together. So the first past life, the two of them were Vikings fighting alongside each other. The next one, they were fighting opposite. Another life, they'd be fighting together. They just lifetime after lifetime. And so they were so cool. I taught them a bit of regression. I taught them how to work. I taught them through the script. And they started working on each other, really overdoing it. I mean, young people are quite passionate and excited. They really overdid it. I told them not to, and they did.
Of course.
And then in one of the regressions, they kept saying, we keep seeing you. So I got somebody else in to take the three of us back to that lifetime, because we said, why have we all met up now? Why have the three of us met up now? There must be a reason. So I brought somebody else in to take us back, supposedly, to that life, see if we could find out, because we didn't know why we'd all met up. These great big soldiers call me their spiritual mama. And I go, oh, Jesus, you must be 110 years old. And they're adorable. I mean, one of them still pops in and brings his babies to see me. They're such good guys. We're really good friends. But anyway, we went back, and instead of seeing what we were looking at that past life, what we actually saw was the events September the 11th, the attack on the Twin Towers. We saw that, and this was 3 weeks before it happened.
Wow.
Now, we had no idea of what we'd seen. We didn't understand it. We didn't know what we'd seen. We thought we just had a bad session and weren't on form. So Steve spoke first. The person guiding said, Steve, what do you say? And Steve said, he said, I don't think I've gone back at all. So I think I'm just not on form today. So I'm looking at these two skyscrapers next to each other. They're the same. And there's smoke pouring out of them. There's a helicopter going around. There's people on the ground running. The helicopter's got CNN. This is America. Something big's happened. He said, but I've got no idea what this is. So they went to Dave, and Dave just said, I haven't gone back either. I'm looking out over a bay. This is America. I'm looking out over a bay. And all I know is the city skyline's changed. And then he just said, how can a skyline change? I said, it's just bizarre. And I just said, oh, I'm nowhere near these two. I'm I'm just seeing Middle Eastern oil and a pipeline. So we gave up. We just gave up and said, oh, well, we're obviously having a bad day. You know, we're not on form. So we went up the pub, because that's what you do. You go up the pub when you work with soldiers. So we gave up. And then 3 weeks later, they called me at the office and said, put your television on. I said, I haven't got a television here. Quick, look at the news. So I put on the news, and we all remember. None of us will ever forget that day, will we? You know, it's just, we were quite upset because we didn't know enough to stop it. We didn't know when or where specifically. We didn't know enough. That really shook us up. But as time went on, I started to think a bit more and think, I wonder if we could do this again. I wonder if we could refine it and get decent information, you know, get better information. So the next thing, Steve was off on a mission overseas, but Dave came in, and I worked very well with Dave. So I said to him, okay, let's do some experiments. He was really up for that. So the experiment was, let's see if we can find Bin Laden. I knew where he was anyway. I'd put a little cross on the map. He was up the Khyber Pass. I knew where he was hiding. Put it in an envelope and sealed it. And the idea was for Dave to see where he was. We thought we'd do an experiment. So I asked him, I took him into a relaxed state, and then I said, will they find Bin Laden? And he said, they're not looking, which was a shock, because at the time, $1 billion reward. And his words were, they're not looking because they and us are involved in this, involved in what happened. And I said, what do you mean? He said, America's got a 23-point plan to take over the Middle East. He said they are going to say that Iraq has chemical weapons, but they know they don't. And he said they're going to invade Iraq. And we laughed. It just sounded, honestly, at the time, it sounded ridiculous. We laughed. America's going to invade Iraq. Don't be ridiculous. And then he said, after Iraq, they're going to go after Syria and Iran. It's interesting because them two countries come up a lot. So that's basically what happened. So every so often we'd have another look at the future, and one thing after another started to happen. So we were quite amazed by it. And one of the big self-help gurus started to keep in touch and ask us how it was going. He was very excited. So I started to make predictions, and he called me up and went, they're really coming true. It's not the odd fluke, it's every prediction. So I started to take clients forward 5 years and see where they are so they could make better decisions now. And one girl saw her future husband. A few weeks later, she met him. Other people saw, oh, I'm still in that job. And so, and they haven't given me any promotion. They've not been good to me. So they could make better decisions now or worry less. They could change their future. But by the very act of seeing it, you're going to change it usually. Either go for the good stuff quicker or avoid the bad stuff. So we started to have amazing things. And it's just grown from there. I wrote the book, and the book went ballistic, and it's just grown and grown. So the information I gave you, sorry, is out of date. We're actually in 20 countries now, but that sounds bigger than it is. In some countries, you've only got 1 or 2 people. Must come to Canada, by the way.
Yes, you gotta come. Come. We'll figure it out, Anne.
Yeah,
We'll
do
figure it out.
that.
We'll
That'd
figure
be
it out.
awesome. I'd love to come. So that's basically it. So I when the book came out, I got very busy and people were contacting me. So I thought, I can't be everywhere. I mean, I'm good at jumping on planes. I love jumping on planes. It's really exciting, but I can't be everywhere. And I knew I wanted to do more with this. So I wanted to grow it more, which you can't do on your own. So I just thought in my head, I'll train a few people. I'm thinking of a handful of people, and it just went on. I think we've trained about 2,500 now. It's just gone on and on. And
Wow.
the interesting thing is FLP attracts amazing people. So as I was thinking, crikey, what do I do now? Because now I've got, they're off and they're working as practitioners, but there's a lot of teaching and areas of development. We work with teenagers, people that might addictions. I'm going into the business world more now. And I suddenly thought the practitioners, they've got talents I haven't got. It's attracted such incredible people that we kind of collaborate a lot. It's not just about me now. They're coming up with their own ideas and we're developing new things. So that's where we are right now. I mean, I'm just working on my 5th book, and the 5th book is about the future of work, because your work's going to keep changing. Whatever you do, it will keep changing.
Well, and can you give us a taste? I know, I wish we could
Yeah.
have lots more time. Can you give us a taste of like how you would go through a session, or like the meditation you might do? And the whole purpose of this is so people can see their best life, right? It's so people can, go
Yeah.
forward and choose their best future, right? Because there's
Yeah.
a myriad of futures that we can choose, right? Like it's like there's like
Yeah.
it's like a fan, and you can choose which part of the fan you want to travel up, right? I guess.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I sometimes take people into their future lifetime, because from everybody I've taken into the future lifetime is way more evolved. And the people, if they're way more evolved, you can speak to the future you and say, what do I need to know now? Where am I going? What, give me some advice. And you can look at what your future self does and think, okay, that's the path I'm meant to be on. If your future self is healing or writing or teaching, what they're doing, is that a clue to where you're meant to be heading? I even start to take people 1,000 years into the future, where I think sometimes when people are seeing angels, they're really just seeing their far distant future self, because in 1,000 years' time, we seem very angelic.
Yeah.
I'd love to give you a taster.
That's a really, so we come back to visit. That's a really thing. So
Love it. Yeah.
It helps us to evolve, and it's as if our future selves are working with us now, so we make the world better for them in the future. It's almost doing
That makes sense.
little
Yeah.
loop there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
okay, just before we start, I just wanted to point out to everybody that all of Anne's information is in the top of this video in the little description. You just have to scroll down. Her websites, her other things that she does, her YouTubes and everything else. So she's all the information's there, the names of her books. So all that information is there, and I'm sure Anne will go through. If there's any questions afterwards, you'll go through the comments and maybe address some that we haven't addressed.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Please do.
We'd love to love to have you give us a little sample, because I'm excited.
Yeah, sure. So would you like to just, I mean, I always think 5 years is a good time frame, or I can take you into another lifetime, or do you
5 years is good. 5 years is good, yeah.
Okay. I'll take you on a little journey. Obviously, I can't do a big full session because we don't have the time, but I've done this, I've done it on my own show, and it, and I've done it on a couple of other shows, and people get some really good information. So we'll just do a nice little session. So,
And you can watch this on the replay, and it works the same, right? It doesn't matter, because it's all the same time, right? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, get nice and comfy and just close your eyes. And ask them, just focus on the backs of your eyelids. And if you ever need to relax by looking at the backs of your eyelids, you naturally start to relax. You can pretend the backs of your eyelids are like a movie screen. And as you look at the movie screen, you might see light or dark, colours or shapes. You'll just see whatever you're meant to see. And as you focus on the backs of your eyelids, you'll naturally start to relax. And as you relax, you'll feel that your breathing deepens. And as your breathing deepens, you'll feel your chest and your tummy rise and fall. Each time they do, you'll relax more and more. And I just want you to imagine there's a beautiful white light shining down on the top of your head, flowing down the back of your head and into your neck, just easing and relaxing. Feel the relaxation flowing down through your face, your cheeks, and your lips, and your chin. And flowing across your shoulders, and just feel your shoulders let go. And feel the relaxation flowing all the way down your arms, right down into your hands, and right to the tips of your fingers. Just allow relaxation to travel down your back, flowing all the way down your spine, easing all the muscles in your back, and flowing down through your chest and your tummy, down through your hips and thighs, all the way down to your knees, and all the way down to your calves, ankles and feet, flowing right to the tips of your toes. With each breath you take, you just relax more and more. I just want you to imagine you're in the most beautiful garden, a warm and sunny day. Smell the fresh air, smell the flowers, feel a gentle breeze. This is your special place. You can come here whenever you wish. And up ahead you notice a hill. You make your way towards the hill. With each step you take, you relax more. You arrive at the foot of the hill, and as you make your way up the hill, up towards the top, you think about your life and how far you've come, how you want to get your really best path 5 years in the future. You make your way along the path and up the hill, up and up the hill. And you arrive at the top, and as you reach the top of the hill, you can see all around a panoramic view. And you see a number of roads stretched out in front of you. And many, many roads and pathways. This is all the choices and decisions, pathways you can take. One pathway looks the strongest. This is the one that's really going to be good for you, the best path for you. And as you look at that pathway, it becomes clearer and clearer and stronger and stronger. And I want you to float above that pathway, and I want you to float forward 5 years. Float forward 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I want you to float down and down and down and arrive on that strongest pathway for you, your best pathway. Yourself arrive and land and get a sense of what you're doing, where you are. And get a sense if you're living in the same place or if you're living somewhere else. Get a sense of what's happening with you, with your work and your spiritual path. Yes. Get a sense if there's anything you should have done differently. Get a sense, what is the thing that's worked out the best for you? What I want you to do is, in your mind, I want you to speak to the future you and ask the future you what advice they have for you right now. This is a very strong future for you, a very powerful future. Just ask. What I want you to do is soak up some of that energy from that great pathway for you Powerful, powerful. I feel as if you can soak up some of that energy. You can feel it, feel what it feels like to be there with amazing things happening, living up to your full potential. That's good. Soak up some of that energy and let it flow through you. That's good. That's good. That's really nice. I want you to keep that energy with you. Keep that energy with you as you flow all the way back to your current time, all the way back, keeping that wonderful energy flowing through you. That's good. Right back at your current time. And any time you need to make a decision, just go back and speak to the future you, and you can gain all the advice you need. Keep that energy with you as I count you back. So 3 and 2, you're beginning to stir, and 1, you can open your eyes and you're fully awake.
Very cool.
Oh, that
See
was
something
amazing.
good?
Yeah.
Good.
I love bringing that energy back from the future.
Yeah, wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
The bit that really got me with future life progression was when the people, with things we saw at 5 years, people were calling me up and going, it's 3 months, it's 6 months, and it's happened. I've got that
Wow.
amazing job. I've met the guy I saw. One girl went off to a wedding a few weeks later, and there was the guy she saw herself married to. She was sending me crazy texts. I didn't know what she was telling me. She's going, he's here. And I'm going, who? What are you on about? We didn't expect it to happen. There is a little rule. If you see your future husband, you do have to invite me to the wedding. It's just a little rule we have. So it's been great, and that's what got me because I've always felt in my life it takes a long time to get to where I want to be, and I go down the wrong road and I waste time on the wrong things, and it can be hard work, and just to bring that energy, the positive energy, and bring it back to now, and it start to happen is phenomenal. I mean, one of the people I work with, the big shot self-help guru that kept an eye on us, I took him forward, and he saw me with a 3-book deal, which I was unknown. People like me don't get a 3-book deal. I had one within weeks, and he saw himself with a top TV show, and he saw himself with this gorgeous house in Hollywood. And he said, I've got no plans to go back to America. I went once before. It wasn't a huge success. I haven't got any plan. Within weeks, he got a phone call by the biggest man in television saying, when you're coming out, I've seen your work, I'd like to work with you. And he got it. He found the house. He got the show. A few weeks afterwards, I went to a wedding, and there was the top agent, Europe's top literary agent. And I spoke to him at this wedding, and he just said, you working on any books? Are you working on anything? About time you wrote a book. You've been in this field long enough. And I said, yes, I'm working on one right now. And he said, what's it called? And I said, Instant Intuition. Now, the self-help guru actually worked on me, took me forward and said, you've got your first book in your hand. What is it called? And I said, Instant Intuition. That's where I got the title from.
Holy cow.
That's
So you
cool.
do this with clients
Yeah.
over Skype or whatever medium.
Yeah, we've been using Zoom lately because Skype seems to be up the wall quite a lot. So all over the world. I've got people Singapore, South Africa. I'm just working with people all over the world doing this, and the results are startling, because what I love is people start to fast track their work. You hear you've got all this potential. It's almost if by going into the future, you bring it back into your current consciousness. And I like that. Let's bring it back to now. Let's bring it back to our current consciousness so it can happen a whole lot sooner. I like that because if you're living up to your full potential, you can spread that. You can teach more. You can help people. If we're struggling to pay our bills and we don't know quite what our path is, or things are not opening up, we can't help other people. So it's kind of like, let's get to your best future and then look at what you can do, look what you can help people with. So it's very exciting for me seeing people really progress their lives.
That's awesome.
That's
A lot of
beautiful.
people
Thank
said, Nancy Louise says that was great, and I needed that. And Debbie Thompson says thank you. Maria Formosa says thank you. Sonia Tidy from Rockville Falls, Illinois, first time here. William Lamb would love a reading, and we've got lots of other people from all around. Laura Howard said she'd seen the towers problem, the 9/11.
Wow.
I think a lot of people saw that. I think it
I,
was just
I
such
think
an
they
energy.
did. Yeah,
You
people
know,
dreamt it, didn't they? I know
yeah.
people dreamt it.
I
Yeah,
think it was just such a wave of energy going out that
yeah,
future
yeah,
past.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
well, thank you so much, and you've got our interest, and I'd love you to come to Canada. We'll have to figure that out. I think I gotta
Do you know, my
head off.
husband doesn't often travel with me, but if I go to Canada, he said, I'm coming with you. He's always wanted to visit. I've always wanted to visit. We'd absolutely love to both come. We both would
Well,
love
I
to
keep
come out.
inviting people up to visit me, and eventually they do come, apparently.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
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 Yeah, no, I definitely want to come out, and I've met some great people through the shows in Canada, and I'd absolutely love to come out. I'd love to bring the training out because it'd be really good to have the training flowing out there with FLP.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'd love to come out anyway, even just a trip would be nice, you know.
Oh, Airbnb,
Yes,
Elliot's always
beautiful.
open for business. And it's usually free. So, Bex, can you give us our announcements after that? If you can come back to the past or
I can't. I'm just
the
laughing
present
at my
from the future.
my future self. Just when you said, what do they have to say for you, and mine just said, "Stop worrying." Like, oh yeah, hey, I do need to do that. Like, she's very blunt.
Very good.
Wow.
All right, I'll focus on that. But yeah, that was an amazing experience. The way that you took us in, we've experienced a lot of these, but for me, that was the easiest I've ever gone into a meditation. You have
Wow.
an amazing ability for
Nice.
that. I've listened to so many,
Wow,
but for some
thank
reason
you.
that just was like effortless. Yeah,
Wow,
was
that's really
that
good
was
to know.
incredible. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Oh,
You
wow.
really needed it.
Well.
So we have to ask you the rock and roll question or whatever.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
had
that's it.
to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would it be?
For me, it'd be Heroes with David Bowie. Because I think we're all heroes. We can all be heroes, and I think everyone can. And I just love the idea of that. So it'd always be Heroes. Let's all be heroes.
That's awesome. I love that song. That's one of my when I need to get in the mood to like kick ass songs. That's one of the songs
I
I
really.
listen to. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So thank you very much for being here today. I just wanted to thank you appreciate
Thank
you
you.
for everything you're doing.
you.
And
I've thoroughly enjoyed being here.
yes, we've enjoyed having you, and I know our audience has really enjoyed this experience.
We'd
And
love to have
I
you
look
back
forward
again.
to
Yeah.
absolutely. I look forward to watching this again and seeing more detail and more experience. So
Yeah.
for everybody watching, keep going back and seeing what you can get because that's really powerful.
Yeah.
To be able to
you
bring it
can.
into
Yeah.
your present time. For announcements, if you share out this episode next week, the one who shares out the most will win a reading with Teresa Warren. So you don't want to miss your opportunity for that because she's amazingly powerful, intuitive goddess, and experiencing a reading with her is a life-changing experience. So you don't want to miss that. The winner of this week, who shared out last week's episode the most, is Tanya Cornwell, and she won with me.
Woo.
So I'll be contacting you to set up your reading, and it's very exciting. Let's see who's next. We have after this on the Akashic Academy page is the Cosmic Ascension Report with Janelle Cameron at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That's an amazing show if you want to get some idea of what's going on energetically in the cosmos, what's coming in, what we've been going through, being able just to connect and realize that we're all experiencing very similar stuff. It's really empowering when you realize that you're not going through everything alone because you realize you're right on track. All the symptoms you've been feeling, you're on track, and it helps to move forward. So it's a really powerful half-hour show at least where you can get an understanding of what's going on, and I highly recommend it. Then tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific is Beauty at the Heart with Sarah Lillian. And then tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, Nourishing Your Multidimensional Body with Kathy Homeyer. And at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific is Let's Tap with Suzanne Gunderson. So we have a full day tomorrow of more, expansive shows to support you on your journey. Excuse me. So it's really an awesome day to tune in and hang out with everybody and this is the family, right? We're all hanging out together and we're exploring and diving deep and really healing each other and ourselves. And it's an awesome experience. So if you want more information, there's also the Akashic magazine. So if you want to be able to read at your own pace and see more articles that are empowering and uplifting and supportive, that's free on www.theakashicacademy.com. It's a free download, and it's definitely worth the time. And there's also the inside group for the Akashic Academy if you want to get to a more, being able to really, really go in and connect with everybody. And there's intuitive classes with Emily Harrison every week. There is Mindful Mondays with Coach Nick. These are tools that are really going to help you be able to develop self-awareness so that you can really harness your power and be able to experience life in the most amazing, blissful ways. And there's also new moon and full moon ceremonies. There was a new moon ceremony for anybody who tuned in yesterday. And I think, is that everything? I never remember if I get it all.
No, you
That
got
was a
it.
lot.
Sounds good.
Good job, Bex. Good job, Bex.
Thank you.
Glad you're feeling better. Glad you're
Yes,
feeling
thank
better.
you.
Yeah.
Nice to have you back. Yes.
Thank you again, Anne. And
Yes.
we hope to see you again in the future. I really
Absolutely, I've got plenty of things to talk about. I don't stop, so I'll be back.
Yeah, 5 years in the future, Anne will be back too. So
Yes.
we're pulling her back in.
do. Back to the future.
Yes.
We've already seen that, but it's not really the same way. Yeah. Thank you all. And have a great Cinco de Mayo, which,
Ole.
and may the fourth be with you. Or
And have a blessed week.
Bye.